Hey, what's going on, everyone? Looks like the dollar broke down, broke previous lows, kept going. Just a tiny little bounce, but nothing back into resistance. So it looks like it, I guess we've got one line of support over here at 99.45. Then we got previous highs over at 98.99 over here. Looks like a 99 mark. So let's see if we can break previous lows. That could be the absolute bottom. You never know. But otherwise, if that breaks down, you got support coming in. Sooner or later, I'll have to bounce. But that is a pretty dramatic drop today. That could just do a 2-bar reversal, so let's watch that, especially on the open for a new month, right? Yeah, tomorrow's the 1st. So have to keep an eye on that. So let's do a monthly review. We've got support coming down. Looks like first line of support is at 99. So let's see if we can get to that spot for the monthly close. Pretty drastic. Closing in on a double top. Closing in on a double or a 3-bar pattern. Not confirmed to the downside yet, as looks like we got a double bottom at the close. It's closing below previous highs. But all in all, pretty nasty 3-bar pattern. Needs to confirm. Watch for a double back, as it did come all the way back into support. Monthly close. Looks like just a breakout and then a throwback back into support so far. See how it turns out. S&P. Looks like it's hanging on by a tether. Looks like it broke previous lows and bounced once again. So it almost confirmed. So it's still hanging on by a tether. It's definitely below previous highs. Next previous highs is down 263, 259, 260. That reversal bar is still not confirmed. So whether that is a hanging man or a bounce hammer, we'll have to see and find out. But so far it bounced again. One thing to notice on a daily chart, it is closing now below the 13 and the 8, and the only line of support, major line of support, is at 34 coming through. And that is a pretty steep line. And also confirming, we do have a confirmation on the whipsaw as price fell through previous highs. Closing below previous highs. Price is back inside the pattern, making that a whipsaw. Price is certainly in a pinch, though, between resistance and support. So watch for any kind of violent action coming out of there. That's a daily. Looks like for the week it's working at bearish Harami. Holding on to a bounce. Bounce right off that 8 pretty smoothly. Is this going to turn into a hammer or a falling star. We'll have to see and find out. It's only Tuesday. And for the month, S&P, pretty decisive breakout. Flat top break. Showing just a tiny bit of rejection off the month. It looks like we're closing at previous highs. So it looks like at resistance. It looks like we closed above previous highs. So this bust out could have been just coming back into support. So nothing definitive on direction. It looks like the direction is pointing straight up so far, holding the 8. It looks like the 34 is still coming up. And as far as the monthly goes, we don't have any reference of where it can go. We don't have any resistance. So pay attention to the emotional spots on the chart. Those are the, the even numbers. So 2300. And that's especially where it got rejected from. But this was a pretty nice consolidation here, and it popped. So I don't see any reason why it's going to come back in on a monthly. Dow Jones. Let's see what happened today. I think Dow Jones confirmed the downside action. Just barely. So it closed below. Came all the way through and came all the way back up. So that looks like a bearish retracement to me. Let's see if we can find something on a lower term. There you go. So it broke through and came back in. So it looks like the bearish retracement's not done yet. So maybe a little up action for tomorrow, first day of the month. But then we have a cross already. This is a 4-hour chart. We got a cross a price, and then it came back in. So it looks bearish, unless all of this closes above previous highs. That'll negate it. So pretty drastic whipsaw, to say the least. Gapped into resistance, gapped back down, and then back down. So it looks like a stair-stepping effect. So maybe one more stair step into support. Maybe. We do have support coming in on previous highs, 1975.7. So nothing's confirmed yet, as the pattern is still intact. But we are closing below the 13, the 8, and the 34 on a daily basis. This price range is still in effect. So we have a whipsaw coming back into the range. And it looks like we have a bearish retracement on the shorter term today. So once the bearish retracement comes in, it allows prices to fall over. So we'll see how that works out. But another down day for sure. Actually, let's go back real quick, do a monthly close. Looks like we got a spinning top going in, closing below previous highs. Interesting. See how this works out. It basically went straight up for 2 months, right? Let's see it come down into support, and then when that happens, then we can talk because that would be a bullish retracement back into support. Where support is, we got support all the way down. On a monthly basis, use 50% of the candle. That'll keep momentum from the previous month. And once that breaks down, you got support coming in on previous highs. But this was a nice consolidation right into there. So I would say support in and around 8651. 18651. That's a 1,000-point drop. No problem. Let's see what happens. NASDAQ closing near its highs on a monthly basis. You can see the double bottom here, and then one more try. Breaking, came back in, broke previous highs, off and running. For the daily, same kind of, and these lines of support are very, very steep. So I can't see much support way up there, especially on a monthly. Closing below the EMA 8, came back into support, came back into previous highs, hit support, and closed right at previous highs. So it closed the gap. Whether this is going to turn around and keep going, or confirm previous low breaks, coming down in, we got support at 5,067. We got support coming in all the way down. We got previous high here at 5,016, all the way down just below 5. At 5 and just below 5. We do have a reversal bar that we need to pay attention to in the future. Well, it looks like that reversal bar was pretty heavy, and then it came back down into support, closed under the 8, came back down into support, closed in and around previous highs. So closed the gap. So far a bounce. See if it'll get back above EMA 8. Otherwise, the longer it spins down in this area, the momentum's going to... So we had a nice bounce, and then it bounced. Or we had another a lift off, and it bounced in. And then if it doesn't have really good rebound reflexes, it's going to hit resistance and just fall over. So we got support all the way down. So it could be a long, drawn-out decline. You never know. It's good. It's due for a nice retracement. Here's a bearish harami again. Closing, coming in for the week so far. But the monthly close is closing near its highs. Let's see if that top is a beginning of a downdraft. Gold. Looks like gold closed above previous highs beautifully. We are at resistance. Maybe coming back in is not going to be a problem, but we're starting a new month. Closing above previous highs. The bullish retracement is confirmed. This could make a monthly low, come back into support, no problem. So be prepared for that. And just under 12 is our line of support. Holding 50% of the previous candle as the new candle opens. Look for monthly lows to be put in as we start the new month. Otherwise, if it opens up, be prepared for a nice few months of fun. Because we have changed trend, as a matter of fact. Nice close on the weekly. See if we can keep this momentum. Previous high breaks at 1220. You can see the pop across the 30, or the 8, and came back into support here, and then opened up the next week, popped into the 13, came into support, popped over the 13, came back under the 13, and then this week so far carrying support from the 13 all the way up. Hopefully a 1-2 punch right into resistance, and then we can start the right shoulder. Lots of work to be done. We're still under the 34, which is our ultimate trend on a weekly. Monthly confirmed. Let's see what happened on a daily. Still working this hammer. Previous high breaks is all we're waiting for. Closing above the 8 and the 13 today. Pretty nice. Nice retracement. Easy deasy. Previous high breaks. I imagine it coming up to resistance and pulling back, or popping above and pulling back. Silver had a great day. Let's check the monthly close. Closing above previous highs. Confirmed. Nice. Good job. Bullish retracement confirmed. Consolidation is done. This can come in as well and make a monthly low. Hold 50% of the previous candle. That's your momentum roll. So just about 1670 against 50%. Take the low, take the high, take 50%. Right where the 34 is. Magically enough. So yeah, look for coming into support. Previous highs are at 1720. And again, the consolidation phase is confirmed. We are now out of consolidation on a monthly basis. Pretty badass. So it came across the 8 and the 13, came into resistance at the 34, retraced, had a 1-2 punch across the 34, came across the 34, hit the 13 for support, and all this month we have been bouncing. Closing above previous highs. Monthly, let's look for a pop above previous resistance at 18. I want to get above 1850. That's a long-term resistance line on silver. For the week so far, nice previous high break. Came across the 8, hit the 13, came back in, closed above the 13, found support and busted out, breaking into previous lows. So our next line of resistance is around 18. We got previous highs in and around 18. Right where the 34 is. Beautiful. Just like clockwork. And we had that nice bust. Previous high breaks. Right at the end of the month. Just right when we needed it. Beautiful. I would look for a throwback back into support. Put in the monthly lows. See what happens. Copper. Copper. Copper looked pretty dead yesterday. Livened up today. Looking for a previous high break on copper. Previous high break. Did we close above previous highs? No. Let's get above previous highs first. and then worry about the next previous high. Every time you get above a previous high, use that as your support. And for the monthly close, almost a 1-2 punch. But ultimately, it's pretty bullish. Looking for previous high breaks. Let's see what happened. Looks like it's going to push through. Wants to push through. Let's see what happens. Looks like we had a bust out and then came back in. I got a hanging man sitting here. Let's close above that at all costs. Otherwise, I would watch out on copper. On an hourly chart, that's pretty much straight up and down. So look for any kind of throwback into support. I got support line at 2.7, so not too far off. Pretty nice. Bitcoin. I forgot to mention I finally got some Bitcoin. And what a day to buy it. Up $45. Breaking previous high breaks. See that nice U coming in now. Reversal right there. Previous high break. Take a ride. For the monthly close, right where it opened. Let's see. Daily ride. Definitely clearing out previous highs. Let's get above this previous high over here. And then all we have to do is take out that small range. I imagine this first pump into resistance is going to be caught in around 976 or so, and then come back for a retracement. That's just my personal guess. But right now we're working into the previous range. Previous range resistance, 977, 976, whatever it was. I imagine that's going to smack into previous resistance and then give us a throwback, and then there will be the 1-2 punch breaking above previous highs. Or it can just bust right through and then start working into the previous range. It's above 50% rule here, so it's gaining momentum. Pretty nice. So just to throw it out there, I'm probably going to transfer my Bitcoin to a trading platform for Bitcoin. And then I can trade a free market. That's pretty exciting, I think. 10-year bond. Not much going on there. Looks like it's still flirting with support. Watch any kind of breakdown. $238 and beyond, I would watch out. Putting in a lower high, so it's bearish. You can see the trend line is bearish. That 8 is a little kooky right now as it crossed down here and then crossed up here. So is this support, or is it just going to fall over? That's a good question. Right now, it's still on a weekly. I still see a bearish retracement crossing over the 8, coming back into resistance, getting rejected here. So let's see how support holds up. Otherwise, we're in a range. And for the monthly close, looks like a little rollover. You got the little rounding top. Closing a lower high for the month. So is it going to come back into support? Well, you will see. Nikkei came down quite a bit. Nikkei for the monthly close came across, beat it down, consolidated over the 34 and then popped. I imagine it coming back into support just a little bit. We are working with a double top on a monthly basis. So either take out the double top or consolidate, gather your legs again, and try again. Double top right over the range though, right over support levels. So look out below. I mean, put in a lower high, consolidated over the 34, popped, put in a lower high. It looks bearish. Got previous highs at 16.3. Got another previous high at 18. Could get pretty nasty for this one. Working a double top on the close. Got to take it out. Again on the weekly, a little trouble, little reversal bar here, little reversal bar action there, reversal bar there. Confirmed it on the upside, but now it's not confirmed on the downside. Holding support on a weekly basis, closing on its lows so far this week. That looks like a bearish retracement. Just like on the way up, now it crosses the 8, comes back into the 8 for support. Just the opposite here. Came back below the 8, came back in as resistance, and got rejected. This 2-bar pattern on a weekly basis is a bearish harami. This is a single bar, confirmed up to the upside, but then negated, and now it is not confirmed at all. This reversal bar is a hanging man. So see if that's support as a hammer or a hanging man. Still has support at previous highs and previous lows. 1868. That support all the way down. And it just broke out of that pattern, so still waiting for a bullish retracement back into support. And that just looks bearish to me. It's closing below the 8, 13, and 34. Whole bunch of reversal bars. Whole bunch of gaps. Close below the gap. Fill the gap and close below it. So that's a fill and run. Maybe it wants to fill this other gap down here too. I'm not sure. But all of this broke down, bearish retraced, and then bearish retraced one more time. Closing into the previous pattern, but now closing at previous lows. Looks bearish. Looks like a last gasp effort here as it whipsawed across resistance levels, support levels. Came down, came into resistance, came down, popped over resistance, and then closed today below. So So now we have resistance again, making this a whipsaw. So we'll see what happens. Doesn't look good as it's closing on its lows though. Pretty down day for that one. Hang on a second. Just real quick on these requests. Try to keep it to precious metals. Try not to deviate from that, because one thing is I'm not paying attention to the markets as a whole, and I know that I went over coal quite a bit. But I don't. I only have time. I got 4 different jobs, and I only have time to pay attention to precious metals. So try to keep it to precious metals and mining. But here we go. HMY was a request. Looks like all you got to do is break previous high on a weekly basis. Looks like you got support on a week. Looks like that right shoulder is holding. We got a whipsaw coming across. Nice inverted hammer here, that confirmed. You're just waiting for a previous high break. And that came down into support after its little pop here. So that looks nice. And then I bet you on the monthly basis, you've got confirmation on a bullish retracement. Same as the other ones. Right now we're facing a resistance. Right? And you can see that. Breaking previous highs. That's a nice little consolidation here. Breaking previous highs, you can get upwards into the 3 area. You can see where the previous lows are. Previous lows here. Previous lows here. You also have a gap here to fill. So those are all resistance. So buy into support. Maybe this will pop and come into support. Maybe it'll just run. I don't know. But you got a good 50 cents into previous resistance lines. Or right around there. So it looks good. Nothing wrong with it. Weekly's doing good. It's got support on the 13 there. Looks like it came back into the 13 a couple times and bounced. All you're doing is waiting for a previous high break. All these things can come down into support down here too, so just be careful on previous low breaks too. Don't let it break that channel on the downside. But it feels like on all these that the measured move is in. Looks like we've got three up there, 1, 2, 3 down here. So even dipped through the measured move. Came back through, came back into support. We're waiting for a previous high break into resistance. Looks good. Nothing to complain about that one. It's doing the same thing as the rest of them. Let's take a look at these 2 here. You got a horrible double top here after the break. That's a bullish retracement back into support. So make sure this holds as it comes down into support, which are previous highs or the previous break. Pretty nice bullish retracement. That's a weekly basis. Daily looks bearish, but we do have a double bottom now. This could dip into previous highs. As long as that holds, get this thing whipping around right across that 8, get a pop. Won't let me look at anything lower than a day, so you got resistance on the way up, you're holding support here. Looks like on a weekly it came all the way back down into support. Still working that double top. all the way down. And you can see the 1-2 right there on a monthly. There's plenty of room to come down to meet the 8 for support, but the previous break right now is good support. It's closing on its low for the month though. HBC, you can see the breakdown on a monthly chart. Not much of a reversal for a monthly. Could double back on a weekly. So I would look for resistance at 1150 or so. Upwards of 12. Usually the first hit into the 8 usually gets rejected. Could come all the way back up. You never know what happens. But right now it's closing at a bottom. So far for the week, it looks like a bullish harami. For the daily, you can see the bump into the 8, cross the cross of the 8, and then it crossed the 13. Use that as support. Now on a daily, you're closing an inverted hammer. It's a good sign. Looks like it closed at support. You got resistance at the gap. You got resistance at the other side of the gap. And if it gets all the way up, you can find the gaps or the previous lows. Let's see. I think I had one more. Peabody. Looks like Peabody's in. Doesn't the Q mean they're in bankruptcy? Looks on a daily, it looks like it's gonna cross and get a pop out of it. Weekly, looks like a 3-bar pattern forming. Tomorrow is Wednesday. 3-bar pattern, close above previous highs. You might have a bottom out of it. You still got resistance to get through on this bullish retracement for a longer term trend. See the close above previous. So it's on a slight uptrend. It had a nice pop, came all the way back down into support. We got support here, support here. Looks like it's bouncing at support. You got this breakout came into resistance over here. And for a monthly, pretty hard to tell what's going on with the monthly on this chart. Looks like it wasn't trading for months here. So now you got pattern. You got previous lows. You got a pattern break. Came all the way back inside the pattern. Closed at the pattern breakout. So full bullish retracement on a monthly chart. You got resistance at previous lows. Previous lows, previous lows, previous lows. All the way up. That's all I got for that. I'm going to have to cut it short. I was going to do, let me find some time later. I'll do a monthly overview of the mining stocks in the watch list. But the ending of the video, I got distracted for about an hour and a half. So finishing up the video, I got to eat. I got to feed the dogs. And let me come back and I'll do a watch list for the month. I'll see ya.